let's go with the Edmonton Oilers. This is a team that is fantastic offensively, right? Can we?
Oh yeah.
Can we have any arguments there?
They have listen. They have single-handedly. Well, let's be honest. McDavid has single-handedly posterized. If anybody knows anything, McDavid has posterized almost any and every team throughout the regular season.
Oh, he's such a joy to watch play, man. Like it is. Like some of the, I don't think people that don't play, like they don't realize how good he is, right? Like, oh well, how McDavid really good is he? And I'm like, it's just like some of the moves, and the agility, and the quick feet, and the hands, like he is the complete package. Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's absolutely exciting to watch. So let's get into the lines. Connor McDavid centering, 25 years old, relatively still young actually. 80 games played, 44 goals. 79 assists for 123 points. You had Zach Hyman, former Toronto Misery. 76 games played, 27 goals, 27 assists for 54 points. Pretty solid. And then you have Evander Kane in 43 games, 22 goals, 17 assists for 39 points, like almost a point per game, just a hair underneath. Second line, you have Ryan Nugent Hopkins on the left wing. 63 games played, 11 goals, 39 assists, 50 points. And then you have Leon Draisaitl, 80 games played, 55 goals last season, 55 assists because he wanted to be a pair, 110 points. And you have Kaler Yamamoto, only 23 years old, 81 games played, 20 goals, 21 assists, 41 points. I mean, out of their top six, like I think that's a very, very solid top six. I mean, especially when you have two guys on. I mean, sometimes Draisaitl and McDavid would play together in certain situations, but I mean, like when they have them separate, which I think is the best way to do it. I mean, having 200-point guys in separate lines, like the point production is just insane.
Yeah.
Like those guys make the players around them better. Like at times, I thought it was OP'd when they had Draisaitl and McDavid together, because it just took away from the rest of the team.
Yeah. You look at those six, right? There's so much firepower there. I think that adding Evander Kane in that mix, right, was a great move by Edmonton. After I saw some of the stuff that happened in the playoffs, and what I mean by that is, we all know Evander Kane has not an ego per se, but he's very vocal, very he's been going through a lot. He's had the off ice trouble
issues,
right? And then even on the ice, sometimes he's a little too vocal for his own good. But I like something that happened. I think it was Game 6 of the round that they won. He put up, I think it was like the number 7 because he scored his 7th goal and it guaranteed them that win that game or whatnot. And immediately Connor McDavid kind of like went over him and kind of told him like, no, we don't do that. We haven't, like kind of just set the precedent like, listen, you're good, I get it, but we need you to just play your game, and I'm going to be here to kind of like help you monitor that because we're going to be great. It was kind of a moment like that. And, I think that going into that round against the Colorado Avalanche, it may have been too much for them, obviously, because they lost, right? But I think that now you're going to probably have Evander Kane for the entire season, not just a shortened amount of time. The chemistry that's going to be built should be amazing. I mean, Hyman is the addition here, but he's solid on his own right. I mean,
he played really well last year on the Oilers. Like, I think he's one of those guys that, like, he came over from Toronto the year before.
Yep.
Played really well last year with the Oilers, and he adds that grit and that kind of net front presence that I think you need on that type of line.
Yep.
And I absolutely agree with you. Another year of McDavid and Kane, I think Kane could score 40. I mean, Kane's always had the potential and very high upside, but it's always been off-ice issues that have gotten in the way of his production personally.
Yep.
And some of his effort at times would be lacking. But I don't think a guy like Connor McDavid's going to be accepting that. And, you have Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins have been there for years at this point, but still a really solid player. You have Yamamoto, like, on that line. And, man, listen, offensively, this team looks good. Now, third and fourth lines, Ryan McLeod, Matthias Janmark, Jesse Pulviari, Matthias with 67 games played, 9 goals, 16 assists, 25 points. McLeod, how do we say that? McLeod?
McLeod?
McLeod. I struggle with English. 71 games played, 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points. And then Puljujarvi, 65 games played, 14 goals, 22 assists for 36. Now, Puljujarvi seems like he wants out. So that will be interesting to monitor if he actually is like adios amigos. But I
don't think they've re-signed McLeod yet. I think
no. I think he's still. I think he's still an RFA. He's still an RFA.
Yeah, he's still an RFA. So that's still not solidified. So their bottom six. It's there, but obviously some pieces, like you said, one's out. The other one hasn't re-signed yet. At this point, they're the less concerning part of your team because all you need to let's be honest with ourselves here, right? If you're an Edmonton fan, you're gonna know that what I'm about to say is the truth. You don't really care too much about the third or fourth line. They're just letting the first two lines get their rest because they're really not gonna play. The top two lines are going to take most of the ice time. These guys are pretty much just going to be there just like, both of you guys are tired? All right, throw them in. I don't care. Just throw one of those lines in. And then they'll be in there kind of just like fillers, right? And all they have to do is not get scored on. That's it. That's all you really need them to do is don't get scored on because the other guys are going to do all the scoring. If you guys score, kudos. But outside of that, they really don't care. They're not that important. Now, is that a downfall? That's the big question, right? Because you look at what happened to them in the playoffs. A team like Colorado was able to shut down their top two lines, and because they had no third or fourth line, was that the problem?
I would say some of it is, right? But I do think there's enough offense there on a usual third, fourth line to be okay. Like, I think you probably should get another third liner that maybe averages 30 points per season, right?
Yep.
Because it seems like they only have one guy in the bottom six with Puljujarvi that has got over 30 points.
Yep.
Maybe you look for another addition there. But I hate to say it, that's just being like, you have a guy with 123 points, another guy with 110. It's kind of like, you have enough offense, you should be successful. I think Colorado was just that good. What I want to get into now is I think the reason why they lost that series was the defense.
Definitely.
So, Duncan Keith is gone. He retired. And his cap hit is going against the Blackhawks. And, so that's not a problem with the Oilers. When the Oilers got him, they didn't sign him to that contract that the Chicago Blackhawks did, so they don't have to deal with the cap penalty.
Yep. I
believe. So, you have Darnell Nurse, 71 games played, 9 goals, 26 assists, 33 points, plus 18. Cody Ceci, the much maligned Cody Ceci, 78 games played, 5 goals, 23 assists, 28, plus 8. Not bad. Brett Kulak, 74 games played, 5 goals, 16 assists, 21 points.
Hold on. I want you to go back to Ceci. A defenseman that's putting up 28 points with just a plus 8, that is a problem.
Yeah.
I want you to understand that. That's not okay. I have to disagree at that point. It's not okay because putting up just a plus 8 and your plus minus when you're getting 28 points as a defenseman, there's a pretty big problem because there's a lot of goals going against you.
Well, but I think Cody Ceci to me is a bottom pairing guy.
Yep.
That I just think Cody Ceci would be better off than a bottom pairing guy.
100%.
Just me. So I think he's kind of put into a situation where he's not in there to succeed. I don't think he'll be in the top pairing. I mean, I hope not. I hope a guy like Evan Bouchard last season, who in 81 games played, 12 goals, 31 assists, 43 points, plus 10, only a plus 10, but I'd hope he takes the next step.
Uh-huh.
And then you have on the third pairing on this is Phillip Broberg, 23 games played, 1 goal, 2 assists, plus 3, and minus 8. And then you have Tyson Berry, 73 games played, 7 goals, 34 assists for 41 points. Now, I would put probably Bouchard and Berry above Ceci as a right D on here. Just because how I'm looking at it, I don't agree with this depth chart. Maybe Oiler fans, you can argue with me on that. I think Cody Cece's a bottom pairing guy. I think the only reason Cap Friendly even has him as like the top pairing over Bouchard is because the cap hit. But
I mean, I think the injured Clefbaum is probably the reason why he's moved up. In my opinion, I don't think. But
Clefbaum's a left defenseman, though.
Yeah, but we all know. Listen, you put the defensive player that can shut people down or that can solidify a line, right? And I think that Clefbaum will probably be up there with Nurse just to hold on the front, whether they're both lefties and all this stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that can happen here, but I agree with you. I don't think CC will be on that top defensive pairing.
No.
He shouldn't be. And I think that this kind of all changes. The look that we have right now for their defense will change once Clefbaum gets back. There is no disclosed time for how long his injury is. He also has a shoulder injury. You know, how will it affect his game? He's 29. I'm not saying he's spring chicken, but he's not in the old man pairing yet. You know what I mean? So how will he recover will depend on how this defense shapes up. But I think that if I'm them, I'm keeping my eyes out for something a little bit better. Maybe making a few moves. Maybe look at trading if they don't re-sign McLeod. Maybe trade him and I don't know. You said his name properly. I can't say that with the P-U-L. Jesse. I'm just gonna call him
Puljujärvi.
Puljujärvi. Yes. There you go.
Bro. The first time I win in English.
Maybe trade them off for a more notable defenseman. You know what I mean? And then again, since the third and fourth line are not a priority in Edmonton, it's very clear. Maybe find someone else to bring in, like maybe either give some of these young guys an opportunity in your minor system, or like I said, maybe you trade those two guys for a defenseman and a okay third, fourth line forward, maybe something like that. But I think that they're definitely going to be making moves early in the season, to try to solidify that back six, because that back six, I mean, yeah, you could have all the offensive power, but when you have a team that can shut down your offensive power, you need a back line yourself. And this is not a championship winning back line.
No, so I think defense is just not good enough, quite frankly, and the Colorado exposed that. Getting into the next position where I think there was a massive upgrade. I think you have Jack Campbell coming in from Toronto, much maligned Jack Campbell. 49 games played, 2.64 goals against, 914 save percentage, 31-9 record. Solid win-loss, solid save percentage. He kind of tapered off the end of the season after he got hurt a bit. I think some of the pressure on him to come back early didn't really help him. I think he came back too early. And then you have the backup, Stuart Skinner, 23 years old, younger goalie, 13 games played last season, 2.62 goals against, 913 save percentage, and a 6-6 record. So, solid backup, right? Not atrocious numbers. He's young. We'll see how it goes. You know what, man? To be really blunt, I think Jack Campbell is an upgrade over Mike Smith. Now, it's unfortunate Mike Smith retired and went on, didn't retire, but he went on LTIR, because I actually think Campbell and Smith would have been a really good tandem, because I think Smith just played too much last season.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You shouldn't be making a 40-year-old goalie carry you in the postseason. Yeah. Because Koskinen was that terrible. And Koskinen was so bad, he went back to Europe to make half the money. Not even half the money, probably a quarter of it.
Yeah. So
for me, I like the upgrade here. I think Jack Campbell is a upgrade over Mike Smith, upgrade over Koskinen. 5 per year. Yeah, I mean, that's probably his going rate on the market.
And he can probably stop a shot that comes from halfway the other way. Just saying. Just saying. We all know.
I'm not here. I'm not here for the Mike Smith slander. That man is done. He is retired. Let him enjoy his career. He was in the Arizona, the Phoenix Coyotes organization. He was he ran for years. He was a good goalie who got fucked repeatedly. I like Mike Smith, and this is hard for me, right? Because I'm not saying Mike Smith is like an elite level goalie, but he was a very good goalie.
He was.
But there was moments where it's like, bro, from the red line, you need to make that save. Like, what are you doing?
Listen. We can all have a laugh about it, right? It happened. It's over. Ha ha. Right? But let's face some facts. My man is 40. Probably needs to see an eye doctor, and he just missed one. It's okay, but we will forever remember that shot because he missed one. Literally, it was a floater. Just like, let me just throw it in, and he was like, what's happening? Like, he was just looking around, couldn't see the puck, and before you knew it was behind the net. It just
bro.
It's
I think someone greased that puck, bro. It's definitely tampered with. Baseball where they, what I mean?
Okay. Believe that if you want. Listen, my man just missed.
I'm not here for the Mike. We're not here for the Mike Smith later. So let's wrap up the Edmonton Oilers. I think.
Hold on, before we wrap them up. Some notable guys to have on the scratch list, right? Like a McKegg. I think that they brought in McKegg as a free agent for the possibility that they don't re-sign McLeod. McKegg is known to be like a grinding third, fourth liner, more of a fourth liner in my opinion. But put in the right situation, he can play fourth line pretty well, third line pretty well, and I think that's going to help them. He also brings some decent pedigree. He's played for the Boston Bruins and the Rangers over the past 3 seasons. And I think that experience is going to help them in the long run as far as like the third and fourth line. I think it'll bring some leadership there, and I think it'll help out the situations that we alluded to before, right? So I think with that, and then again, it's always going to come down to how NHL treats their AHL, whether they mirror each other and so on and so forth, whether you can bring some of these guys to fill in the spots, things like that. But yeah, I just want to allude to that because they have two scratches on their thing. Tyler Benson, and Greg McCraig. Those two guys, not point producers. That's not what they're there for. They're there just to hold down the middle of the ice, or to hold down the third or fourth line. That's what they're there for. So they're characters that will help. Then you have Marcus Niemelainen.
Younger defenseman, 6'6". Like, he could develop into something too.
Right. So you got to see, especially with, again, like we alluded to before, the defense is what's been the shakiest part of their team, right? So will he play a role in that with him and, Clefbaum being injured or coming back from injury, hopefully, by the beginning of the season? Will they be any parts of that? Will they help the team stand up defensively? That's just going to be one of those things we got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to have to keep an eye on that. And before we kind of get off this, actually, let's go into the breakdown of last season.
Yep.
And see where we think they're going to fall now. So, we just didn't do it again. The Pacific Division. Yeah, Calgary finished first. Edmonton finished second. Hey, where do you think Edmonton's going to finish the season?
Whew. Let's take a look. I think in their division, they have nobody else that's going to compete with them offensively. And they pretty much have a similar defense that they did last season, considering that so far they look like they're more consistent team coming into the next season. I would probably say they're number 1 or 2 in that division. I don't see them really budging from that 1 or 2 spot at all. Again, that's not discrediting all the holes that they have. It's just that in their division, you have a bunch of teams that are currently on rebuild or still trying to find who they are, right? So it isn't that easy, right? No. Now, how will they fall as far as like the NHL completely? I mean, that's a whole different thing, right? Because it's if you look at the conference, they were 5th last season, right? Yeah. So in the conference, they were 5th.
No, they were 3rd. third last year in the conference.
No.
Edmonton. Sorry. Yep, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you go to the top, right, and just hit the conference button, it'll show you the, right? So you see here, they were 5th in the conference, right? I don't see them getting any lower than Los Angeles, to be honest, and all these other teams, again, all these other teams on rebuild mode or trying to put Band-Aids. I think that the worst they can be is probably 6. With Anaheim doing the things that they did, I think they creep up and kind of sneak into a position a little bit closer. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the biggest thing is. But I still see them staying in 5th place, maybe anywhere from 4 to 6 is where they're going to be conference-wise.
So I think for me, and this is the most important part, because the division is where until you go to the finals is where you're going to be playing a lot of your games. Mm-hmm. I think Edmonton's going to finish first. I think the improvement they made with Jack Campbell, right? I think that's an upgrade over Mike Smith. That's a massive upgrade over Koskinen. I think Stuart Skinner is going to be a solid backup, right? Mm-hmm. Just limit him, but he'll be limited, but enough to give Campbell some time to rest, right? Unless he completely falls off the wagon. You have the offense that's listen, the Pacific Division, in my opinion, it looks like some of the teams are increasing defensively, but I think the offense from the Oilers is just too dangerous. So I think you're going to see that offensive output. Defense, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I think that if the youth comes along, maybe a few guys that we're not talking about come in prospects and they really shine and do a well job. But I think in this division, I think they'll finish first. Mm-hmm. Where was your ranking in the division? You said about 5th or 6th in the conference.
Between 4 to 6. 4 to 6.
In the division?
No, in the conference. In the division, I think 1 or 2. That's
okay.
No more than that.
I was going to say, oof. Oof.
Listen, I'm not crazy, all right? Let's be honest. I don't think there's any other team in the NHL that can put up the amount of points that they do when it comes to the offensive threat. Their offense is just so high-powered. It carries the team as a whole, which is why I think they got unmasked in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they faced Colorado was just so well built. They just faced a team that was better built than them, man.
Yeah,
it's just way better built.